I'll introduce myself a little. Um, I'm Fazia Khattak. I'm a fourth year student at Khyber Medical College, Peshawar, and I have a little experience with systematic reviews and meta-analysis. Your hosts were very kind enough to invite me for this session. Achha ji. Though I'm supposing you all know what today's session is about, right? Okay, Miguel is saying no. Okay, Mikhail, it's okay. I'll tell you what today's session is about. Today's session is about literature review and electronic search for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. So, I do have some slides prepared and I'll open them for you guys, but I would also suggest that instead of focusing on the slides mainly, you should focus on what I'm saying because that would be much more useful. Okay. Okay. So before I start, can anybody tell me if they have a brief idea about what literature review is for meta-analysis? I mean, judging based on the name, what do you guys think it is? Any ideas? Or no? Okay, never mind. I was expecting you guys to be a little fresh because it's early in the morning. I mean, not that early, but still. Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to my voice. Okay. So today's class is about electronic literature search for systematic reviews and meta-analysis, and will be focused on building, running, and documenting database searches that meet Cochrane, PRISMA, and PRESS standards. So, can anybody tell me what you learned before this? Did you guys learn about topic selection and how to choose a topic, how to make Pico for your topic? Did you guys learn about that? If not, I'll give a brief overview of that because that is important for understanding today's lecture as well. Come on, everybody. It's just a yes, no question. Okay, I can give an overview. Yeah, sure. So basically, for systematic reviews and meta-analysis, for a simple meta-analysis, when you are choosing a topic, it must have three components. So the three components are population, intervention, and control or comparator. So these should be similar or exactly the same for all of the studies that you are including in your study. Okay. I think we all know at this point that meta-analysis is basically when you take studies which are studying similar things and you group them together, you take the data from them and you analyze that data. Okay. So how do we find those studies? That is the highlight of today's lecture. How do we reach those studies which have the similar population, similar intervention, and similar control groups? So, to reach those studies, we have to build a search strategy, we have to carry out an electronic search, and we have to review the literature that we receive. That is the highlight of today's lecture, and we will cover that today, inshallah. Okay. Now, the thing about meta-analysis is that it should be reproducible in every step. And what do I mean by reproducible? I mean that if I do a meta-analysis, if I do something and somebody else studies my paper, a reviewer per se, or an editor from a journal where I have submitted that paper, and they want to check if I did everything accurately or not, if I am unbiased in my paper or not, they can carry out those steps again to check if I, in fact, carried out everything properly and according to the standard guidelines. Okay, and how will they do that? How will I ensure that they can reproduce my results? I will make sure that, first of all, everything I do is according to the book. Everything I do is documented properly. Each and every step that I take is documented. Okay, and it is reproducible. How? For example, if you are creating a search string for PubMed, and we will talk about what search string is and how we are creating those in a few minutes. But for now, I'm giving an example. If I am creating a search string for PubMed, what I will do is that when I write my paper, when I am ready to submit it, I will create a supplementary file which will be accessible to the editors and to the reviewers of the journal to which I'm submitting that paper, and there they can see that I have added the search strategy that I used for PubMed and for all the different databases. Okay. Now, what they can do is that they can copy the search strategy from there and they can paste that search string in PubMed, and there they will check if they are getting the similar number of results as I did, as I have reported. And by doing so, they will know that I did not misreport my findings, I did not do anything wrong, I carried out everything accurately and according to the standard guidelines. This is what I mean when I say that each and every step in a meta analysis should be reproducible. Okay, now I have another small question for you guys. Can anybody tell me any of the major databases which we use, especially as students who are studying medicine, as doctors, as anybody who is in the medical field? What are the major biomedical databases?
Embase?
Yeah, I can hear you. Nimra is saying PubMed and Scooper. Nimra, I know what you're trying to say, but it's not Scooper. Yes, Abdullah is right. Adisa, yeah. Abdul Rafi, yes. Yes, good job, guys. Good job. All of you are so smart. So you guys do know a lot of stuff, but you guys don't answer my questions. I really appreciate it when I ask a question and everybody is involved, because that makes it less boring for both of us. I do know that listening to these lectures is a bit boring, but the only way to make it a little interesting is by, asking these questions and you guys answering them. And you guys are very welcome to ask me questions as well. Okay? Wherever you feel like asking one. Okay, so everybody mentioned some important databases. So I'll repeat for everyone who didn't see those messages. We have PubMed, which is indexed by Medline. So PubMed and Medline is basically the same. If you hear somebody saying Medline, they are talking about PubMed. And if you are familiar with Medline and you hear somebody saying PubMed, so they're talking about Medline. So they're the same. Okay. We have PubMed, we have Scopus. So the thing with Scopus is that Scopus and Web of Science, they are very good at analyzing citations, and they're very good for forward and backward citation searching. Okay, we will talk about that as well, but I'm just giving a brief overview of, the plus points of all of the major biomedical databases. The thing with PubMed is that it covers a lot of journals. Like, just a small note I would like to add here is that these databases, they don't have any data of their own. Basically, what happens is that all of the journals that we have, all of the major medical journals, or any other journals which are relevant, when an article gets published in them, suppose journal A is indexed in PubMed. So if an article gets published in journal A, it will be available on PubMed. Suppose journal B is indexed with OVID or MBase, then if an article gets published in journal B, it will be available for you to view on MBase or OVID. Okay, so okay. These databases don't have any articles of their own. They are merely indexing different journals, and when any article gets published in any journal which is indexed with them, that article appears on that database. Okay, so I hope this point is clear. Okay, PubMed is not a journal. PubMed is a database. Okay, so mm, distinction between database and journal is cleared, hopefully. Okay. Thank you, Nimra. So, when you are searching for an article on PubMed, the main benefit that you have is that it is many of the journals are indexed with PubMed. So, when you search for something, you'll have more results, you'll have more findings, and you will have a broader pool of evidence and of literature. Let's say that if I write cancer as a search term on PubMed, I will get possibly millions of results because cancer is a very wide category and many articles will be discussing cancer as a subject. So I'll get many results. Okay. And in comparison to using other databases, for which I might not get many results. And for Embase, the thing with Embase is that Embase has many conference proceedings and abstracts which are usually not present on PubMed. So each and every database has a plus point of its own. Okay. All of them have plus points, all of them have negative points as well. So PubMed has many articles, MBS has conference proceedings and abstracts, Scopus and Web of Science are very good for forward and backward citation tracking. And we have other clinical trial registries, for example, we have uh, we have WHO, ICTRP, I guess, and a few others, which are basically registers for keeping track of all ongoing and completed clinical trials. So the thing with meta-analysis is that usually our main body of evidence is RCTs and clinical trials. So these registries, which register clinical trials, are an important source for us to find any studies which we can include. Okay? Now you guys might be thinking why I'm just stuck on the first slide, so we'll move on to the next one. Is it a search engine? Are you asking about PubMed? Ahmed? I suppose you're asking about PubMed. Okay. Yes, it is like a search engine. Somewhat of a search engine. You know why I would call it that? It's because when you are using Google, when you are using Firefox, when you are using Edge, You search for one thing, you search for a term, and what it does is that it looks at your query that you have entered in the search box, and it finds all of the results which have similar terms. Even if one or a few of the words are similar for the resultant links or websites, it gives you those. So similarly for PubMed, what you do basically is that you search for one term and it gives you all of the articles which have that term in them. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so the foundations of electronic search is uh, the search and not the statistics, and what makes a review systematic. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier a few minutes ago, that when we are choosing a topic for a systematic review or a systematic review and meta-analysis, we have a few components which make our topic: the population, intervention, and comparator. Now, here's the thing: when you are doing a systematic review, as you can tell from the name, everything is in a specific order, okay? Everything is very organized, and that is what separates it from other types of reviews. You classifying the title, the topic into different categories of population, intervention, and control is what identifies this review type, okay? Yeah, I think somebody's asking something. Okay, not asking. So that's why the foundation of electronic searching is also based on those different components of your topic. Okay, I would have talked in Urdu, but I feel like we have somebody from another country here. I saw one of the names, and I feel like that wouldn't be very comfortable for them to follow. So I hope everybody is okay with me conversing in English, right? Okay, so the search defines the systematic review. What separates a systematic review from a narrative one is a pre-specified, exhaustive, reproducible electronic search, not the topic or the statistics. Okay, now that is what I talked about earlier, that each and every step should be reproducible. And obviously, the first step of your systematic review and meta-analysis is the search, the electronic search. Okay. So, an incomplete search silently biases every downstream step: screening, risk of bias, pooled effect size, and grade certainty. Now, I'd like to ask a question. Question time. Tell me, who will tell me? Okay, anybody can answer. If I create a search strategy, I search for um, topics relevant to my title to find included studies, and I don't create my search strategy properly, and the results I get are missing a few articles which I could have included, but since I didn't create my search strategy properly, I'm missing them, and I have no idea that they should have been included. So, can anybody tell me that the subsequent steps which I will carry out, for example, the screening, the extraction, the risk of bias assessment, the manuscript writing, and all of it, will it be accurate or not? Not accurate. And can anybody tell me why? Yes, it should be comprehensive. Yes, Anamta, we will discuss that in detail. Don't worry about it. I'm just trying to give an intro before we move to the practical part. Yes, it must include all relevant studies. Yes, exactly. You know, there is a term for it. It's called publication bias. Now, the thing with publication bias is that when you miss out on studies which you could have included in your meta analysis, it inoculates a certain type of bias into your findings, which is called publication bias. Okay? You are missing out on some publications which you could have included. And what is bias? It's a simple term, it's very easy to understand. Anything which deters your findings from the accurate findings which you could have received if there were no external or internal influences which are affecting your results, that thing is bias. Okay, it could be anything. It can be publication bias, it can be selection bias, it can be attrition bias, but that's a different topic. I'm just trying to say that if you don't make your search string properly, if you don't create a proper search strategy, you will get publication bias and your results won't be accurate. Okay. Cochrane and Prisma both treat the search strategy as a reportable, peer-reviewable methodological product in its own right. So this lecture focuses entirely on that one product, how to plan, build, run, and document an electronic search across the major biomedical databases. Okay, cool. Moving on. Okay, so we do have the slides, but again, I have another question. Let's try to move on to, building and understanding the search strings that we use. So, can somebody give me an example for a population? Anything. Give me any topic which we can use. People with coronary heart disease. Okay, good. What should we take as the intervention for them? Beta blocker. Okay, and I'll take the comparator as placebo. Is that okay? Okay, चलें जी. Let's start. I'll open PubMed first of all. So I have opened PubMed, and here's the thing. When I am creating a search strategy, I will always use the advanced option. Okay, you will always click the advanced option. Now I will open another search tab, and what I will do is that um, I will open mesh term library. Okay, so does anybody know what mesh terms are? Any idea? Mesh terms. Similar terms for same thing, exactly. Good job, Abdul Rafa. All possible terms, exactly. Good job, Amara. Okay, so you guys do know what mesh terms are. So that's a really great thing. Okay, group of similar terms for same things used in PubMed. Exactly. So the full form of mesh is medical subject headings, and it is something that we use to find similar terms for one thing. It's like finding synonyms. When you open a dictionary and you search for one word, now people don't use dictionaries that much, but When you open a dictionary and you search for one word, usually you find synonyms for it as well. So the same thing it goes for PubMed. Basically, what you do is that you open the website and you search for one term, and it gives you all the similar terms which can be used. For example, let's take heart attack. Okay, heart attack. Now, here's the thing. When papers are published, it's not important for them to use the same terms for everything. If paper A might use the word heart attack, paper B might use the word myocardial infarction, paper 3 might use heart failure, paper 4 might use something else. But when I'm searching, and I just write myocardial infarction in the search engine, I will only get articles which have used the word myocardial infarction. I will be missing out on all of the other papers which have used different terms but which are relevant to my search, which I should have included in my study, but I am not receiving them. Why? Because of my incomplete search, because of me searching for only one thing instead of all of them. Okay? Is that part clear? Like why much terms are important and why we use them? Thank you, Anamta. I hope you learn more as well today. Okay, so, okay. Now I'll tell you guys how mesh terms get assigned. Mesh terms, they get assigned after a little while. It takes some time, a few weeks, a few months, for everybody who is handling that database to assign the mesh terms to them. Okay? Like for example, there is somebody who is running these databases who is controlling this mesh term library, and he or she or they will need some time. For example, if an article gets published um, in about coronary heart disease, and there is some other term for CHD which somebody else is using. Okay, we don't have much time left. Never mind. So there is some other term for CHD, and obviously somebody needs to group these terms together. So it takes some time. Now, the problem that we are facing here is that if I just use mesh terms to build my search string, I will be missing out on all those articles which have not been assigned those tags yet. Okay? Is this point clear? Like, you guys understand what the problem is, right? With mesh terms. Yes. Okay. Okay. Now, what will I do? What do you say, Nimra? What should I do in this situation? Maybe use AI. Yes, Abdul Rafi, we can use AI, but think, use your own brain. What will you do? Use HI, human intelligence. You know, I'm not like, completely against the use of AI because it's a great supplementary tool, but it should be something which you use along with your own skills and along with your own intelligence. Can you repeat this point? Obviously, of course, I can repeat this point. We have to enter a required term and click search. Yes, that is similar to. Further, I'm saying that when an article gets published in a journal which has been indexed with PubMed, so basically what happens is that everybody who is responsible for controlling all of these searches, they have to tag, they have to add a specific tag to the new papers, and it takes some time. So sometimes when you are searching using mesh terms only, it misses out on certain papers because they haven't been tagged yet. Okay, because it takes a few weeks or a few months to get those new articles tagged. Non-Medline, exactly. So Actually, the thing is that each and every database has different ways for you to search stuff. Okay. So now we are talking about PubMed. So that's why we are talking about mesh terms. Other databases have different ways. Okay. Okay. So in scenarios like these, just to avoid you missing out on certain things, what you do is that just simply open this simple search engine and write coronary heart disease beta blocker. Now this is not the search string, obviously. This is just a simple search. When I'm using where I'm using the terms that I'm interested in, this is my population, patients with coronary heart disease, and this is my intervention, beta blocker. And I'm just simply typing this out to check what I'll tell you guys. What I will do is that I will see the most recent articles. I will see what terms are they using for coronary heart disease, for beta blockers. I will see the keywords they are using. Okay, is this point clear? Yeah, okay. You know what? I'll filter this to include only our cities. So here they're using coronary artery disease instead of coronary heart disease. So that is something I can use as well. Chronic coronary syndromes. So what you are supposed to do here is that we did mention what is a drawback of using mesh terms. So what you will do is that you will manually find keywords that you can use to expand your search strategy. You will write them down with you. Like for example, I give a heading coronary heart disease on a piece of paper or in my notepad on the computer or on my mobile phone. And then I write, okay, I saw a study which wrote coronary artery disease. I saw a study which said chronic coronary syndromes. And then I saw another paper which used a different term. So I'm just collecting the major synonyms which I can use as keywords in creating my own search strategy. And I will do this for both the population and the intervention. Okay? Or as Abdul Rafi said, just to, have a supplementary opinion, you can use AI, you can use Claude, you can use Perplexity or whichever search engine you are comfortable with using, just to find out similar keywords which you can use. Okay? Is it clear till now? Yeah. Okay. What about the rest of you guys? Nimra and Anamta said yes, but what about the rest of you? If anybody has any questions, you're most welcome to ask them. Didn't get last point. Okay.
Uh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Uh, I have attended many workshops about the research, and they always tell us to make the filter about the last 5 years. And you set it for 1956 to 2026. And is it we apply filters or not?
Okay, so Ahmed, here's the thing. When I am doing my papers, I don't set a filter for the last 5 years. Basically, the starting point of 1966, it was not set by me. It's basically inception. There's this term called inception, which we used. So 1966 was the first article which is relevant to my search. Like I searched for CHT and beta blocker, and the first relevant article, the oldest relevant article was published in 1966. So automatically it was set to 1966. So apparently wait, there's just one article which was published, one clinical trial, which was published in 1966, which was relevant to my search. It was relevant because it studies the effect of a beta blocker in myocardial infarction. So even though the intervention was the same, the population was different. So here's the thing. You asked if we should use filters. I don't use filters, but yes, people do use filters. However, I don't for one specific reason, and that reason is that I don't want to miss out on any papers which might be there, which might be out there, which can give me some useful information. And I feel like 5 years is not an appropriate gap for me to assess something. Like, okay, 1966 is wild, it's not valid, but 5 years, okay, it's about to end, so I'll just answer this question and then we can start the next one. So, 5 years, in my opinion, is not an appropriate gap. Why? Because the thing is that, okay, 1966 medicine was very outdated. It's not relevant to us right now. But if it were up to me, I would set it from 2000 to 2026 because medicine has really been progressing in this decade and in this century. Okay, I hope that is understandable. So it's totally up to you, but it's not something I do because I don't want to miss out on any key trials or key papers which I can include because they don't get tagged right away. So if you use mesh terms only, you might be missing out on some key studies which you could have included if you used other terms as well. Okay, understood? Now we have CHT, we have beta blockers, and we need to find the keywords that they use. So for doing that, what I will do is that I will just randomly search instead and not use any Boolean operators, anything. And I will see, okay, what are the terms that other studies are using for this thing? And I will write them down with myself. I will note them down so that I can use them later on. Now, these were my two steps, my initial two steps. My first step was looking for other keywords. My other step is going to be just to open the mesh term library and write coronary heart disease. So the term here that I got, the mesh term, is coronary disease. Okay, coronary disease is going to be my mesh term. And these are all the other entry terms. Okay, so by entry terms, what entry terms are the terms which are used by other papers, other similar papers, but they're just synonyms. So coronary disease is the mesh term here. Coronary disease is disease, coronary disease is coronary heart disease, coronary heart disease is disease, coronary heart. Okay, all of these are entry terms which are used. Now I will have a look at these entry terms and I will see, okay, which of these can I include in my search string? Okay, so I'll see them, I'll see, okay, coronary diseases, I can include coronary heart disease, and that's all. All of them, the rest of them are variations of the same term. Okay, is that part clear? Yeah, okay, okay, perfect. So now we are coming towards the most important step. And what is that? Making the search string. So I'll open PubMed again. I will open the advanced search bar. And first of all, what I will do is that I will explain to you guys what Boolean operators are. Okay? So let me find a slide for that. Okay. So we have three important Boolean operators, and those are and, or, and not. Now, the thing is that all three of them have different functions. So the function of and is that it combines two terms. How? If I write coronary heart disease and beta blockers in my search bar, I will get articles which have both of those terms. Okay, they have a mention of CHT and a mention of blocker both in the paper, and I will get all of those papers which have both of them. Okay, now if I write CHD or beta blocker, I will get papers which either have CHT or beta blocker. They can have either of them, or they can have both. But the function of OR is that it will retrieve papers which have either of the two terms, or the three terms, or the four terms. Okay? Is and OR clear? Yes. Okay. Infinix X6531 is saying yes. That's a very interesting name. Um, it reminds me of the name of Elon Musk's son. I know it's your phone, but I'm just kidding. Okay. So I was talking about and or. And so when we use and, it's basically to combine two concept blocks. And when we use or, we use it within one concept block. So now interesting question is, what is a concept block? Can somebody tell me what concept block is? Dr. Dilip, you can do this later. You don't have to do this here. Yes, or is used for synonyms, Nimra. So my question was, does anybody know what concept blocks are? No. It's okay, Abdul Rafi. Anybody else? Yeah, of course I can share it. I'll share it with Osama and he can share it with you guys. Okay, so I'm assuming you guys don't know what concept blocks are. It's totally fine. I was just asking to make sure. So basically, concept blocks are different keywords for a certain component of the PICO grouped together. For example, if my population is CHD, so all of the keywords and all of the mesh terms for CHD grouped together are one concept block. Okay. And for combining the terms within one concept block, I will use OR. Okay. Yes, exactly, Nimra. Exactly. Now, why do I use OR? Basically, if within one concept block I am using OR, it means that I'm asking PubMed to give me any of the articles which have either of these terms, any of these terms. If they have coronary heart disease, if they have coronary artery disease, if they have coronary disease, give me any article which has any of these terms, which is within this concept block. Okay. So O or combines synonyms within one concept and combines separate concepts. So what OR does is that it broadens your search. How? Because if I am asking for articles which have any of these terms, I'm going to get a bunch of articles because there are going to be a lot of articles which use different terms, which use any of these terms. In comparison to me just searching for one word and getting articles which have that one word only. Okay. Now let's say that I'm done with creating a concept block for my population separately and my intervention separately. Okay, I have combined all of the synonyms, all of the mesh terms, all of the keywords for CHT separately. I have combined all of the synonyms, keywords, and mesh terms for beta blockers separately. Now, what I want to do is that I want to combine them to make my search string complete. So what I will use is that I will use and. I will use and between those two different concept blocks. And what and will do is that it will narrow down my search. How? Because consider this. You guys do remember that rule from basic mathematics. It was called BODMAS rule. Remember? Yes. You guys do remember that rule, right? It was that if something is in a bracket, we solve it first. So let's say that there is 2 plus 2 in one bracket, and then there is a plus sign in between, and then there is 2 plus 2 in another bracket. So what you will do is that you will add 2 plus 2 first, and you will add the other 2 plus 2 first, and then you will add both of those 4s to get 8. Okay. Now, Fatma, you tell me, if I don't follow the brackets and I just add them, will that be accurate mathematically? Like, what do you say? Yes, output varies. For example, if 2 multiplied by 2 in one bracket, 2 multiplied by 2 in another, in the mid there is a plus sign, and I don't follow the brackets, and I just add it and multiply it on a whim, my answer won't be accurate. Now, here's the thing about search string. You have to make the concept blocks separately because I have seen so many people, and even I have made this mistake many times when I started, that I would make it all together. And the problem with it would be that Aisha, when we make the search string, you will understand. So the problem with it would be that if I made it all together, I would get different number of results than somebody who would make it separately. Okay, now let me explain it. We'll be answering Aisha's question now. So where were we? Okay, so the term that I found here was coronary disease. Okay, so I'll just copy it from here, coronary disease, and from here I will choose mesh. I will click add. Then I will take all of the keywords that I had when I studied it from here. So I had coronary artery disease, I had chronic coronary syndrome. From here, I will choose title and abstract. See, title abstract. So me choosing mesh major topic initially, that's because I took this term from the mesh term library, which means that I am asking PubMed to give me all of the articles which have been tagged with this mesh term. Okay, because we did see that these other terms, all of these entry terms, were listed under this mesh major topic. So that means that all of the articles which have these terms have been tagged with this mesh term as well. Is that clear? Formula 2, wait, let me see. Okay, I'll explain that, don't worry. Is this point clear about the mesh term? Yes, okay, perfect. So I chose mesh major topic because this term encapsulates all of the other terms. And now what I will do is that for the other keywords which I found, I will choose this option, title abstract. Why? Because I want PubMed to search for this term in the titles and the abstracts of all the studies that it is going to retrieve. Okay? So one of the terms that I found was coronary artery disease. So I'll write coronary, I think I spelled it wrong. And you see, you will have this option add with and, add with or, add with not. Okay, so we did not talk about not. We will talk about this as well, but it's not something that we use, so don't get confused by it. Okay, so since I am combining one concept block together, I will click add with or. See, now this is what I meant by the brackets, by the parentheses. See, this is a huge, this is not one single word, right? This is one term, coronary disease. Now, if the brackets were not there, obviously they are added automatically by PubMed when you are using advanced search. But if somebody is using the simple search option, and they forget to add one bracket somewhere, what happens basically is that it will process these terms separately. Like, for example, if I don't add these brackets here, I don't add this bracket here, so all of it will get mixed up, and PubMed won't know which of these is a single term, which of these are separate terms, which of these does it have to separate, which of these does it have to process together. Okay, so that is what brackets are here for them to be processed separately and for them to be processed together when needed. Okay. Now, another keyword which I found was chronic coronary syndrome. Let's take that. No harm in taking that as well. What do you guys say? Any harm? I'll click or. So it got added with or again. I would repeat that we are using or because it's the same concept block. Do you mean
Excuse
that?
me,
Yeah, Nimra?
I have I have got a question. Like, why don't we copy all the mesh terms and paste it here and directly then click search and all articles we will get easily?
Are you talking about these terms?
Yes, I am saying if we copy these and paste them there
Mhm.
and then click search, then they will appear.
Yes, they will appear, but as I said earlier, that if we don't use other keywords and we only use mesh terms, we will be missing out on those papers which have not been tagged yet. Okay. So basically, tagging, it takes some time. It takes a few weeks to a few months. So if I just use the mesh terms, I might be missing out on certain studies which have not been tagged yet. Okay. So we have to say, yes, yes, you must add uh, and or separately. It's important because obviously it's just the way you build your search screen. You know, Why do we add or and? It's because each and every database has a specific way, a specific method of searching. Now, here's the thing, if you don't use and or, there is no purpose of doing a systematic review and meta analysis because here's the thing. For each and every type of research article, there are certain guidelines. I can't just do a study on my own and follow my own rules because I want to. I have to follow certain guidelines. So, for systematic reviews and meta analysis, we use Cochrane Handbook of Systematic Reviews and we use PRISMA guidelines. So, I have to follow those guidelines. I have to do my systematic review and meta analysis in line with those guidelines. Because if I don't, then it's not a systematic review and meta analysis. And here's the thing, PRISMA guidelines, they call for the use of Boolean operators like or, and not while creating a search string. So that's why I have to use them. Is that clear? Okay, great. Okay, so I got this from the mesh library. I got these two terms from my own search, my independent search, which I carried out to make sure that I don't miss out on any relevant keywords. Okay, it's okay, Anamta. You can ask me questions if you missed out on anything and if you don't understand, but we haven't done much. Okay, so we added the keywords. Now we are moving on to the mesh terms which we could have used. So the mesh terms that we could have used were coronary diseases, and we have coronary heart diseases. Now, when I am adding coronary heart disease, you guys can see that there is another term which is coronary heart diseases, like in plural. So what I can do here is that I can just add a simple asterisk. Wait. I can add a simple asterisk, and what this asterisk means is that PubMed will retrieve all the articles which have coronary heart disease, or if there is something else after the asterisk, like coronary heart diseases as well. So this is what you do to avoid mentioning all of the possible terms. Like for example, if I am using a term cancer, and I don't want to type cancer, cancers, cancerous, all of it. I will just put an asterisk in front of the word. What it will do for me is that it will add all of the papers which have any other term, any other word after this. Okay. So if I write cancer, I add an asterisk. All of the articles which have cancer, cancers, cancerous, and any word, any variation of any word after cancer will be retrieved after my search. So what I added the asterisk here for is to avoid adding diseases separately. Okay? Okay, great. Amazing. Now, as Abdul Rafi said earlier, that we can use AI for it. So sure, we can use it. Let's use it. What do you guys say? Nimra is saying, yes, do it. I'm doing it, don't worry. What are some keywords I can use in my search strings for okay, we already added this. We're done with this as well. How do you choose which AI to use? You can use any tool, Anamta, but Cloud is good. Perplexity is also good. But the thing is that they reset after a certain time because they're paid tools. So that is a drawback. Obviously, it's very expensive. I checked. So it's very expensive to buy it. Um, so the option that we have left is DeepSeek. You can also use Grok, you can use ChatGPT. But if it resets, I would suggest using DeepSeek. The most important thing that you have is your prompt. So you need to know how to make a proper prompt. And for that, you just open any tool, any AI tool. You write improve my prompt, colon, and then you give your rough prompt to it. And what it will do is that it will polish your prompt for it to be perfect so that you can get a proper result. So take that prompt, which it polishes for you, and use that. And that would be much better. And after that, you can use any AI tool which you want. Okay, so we already did this, we did this, we did this. Okay, we haven't done ischemic heart disease. So let's go for that. We also have this other spelling. We have not done coronary atherosclerosis. Okay, so then we can add the abbreviation CHD, coronary heart disease, coronary artery disease, ischemic heart disease. So let's say add those as well. CHD, CAD, ischemic heart disease. Okay, all mesh terms and Nimra, basically, you can use them, but the thing is that review articles are secondary research articles and cross-sectional study is a primary research article. Now, the difference is that for cross-sectional study, you have to collect data firsthand. And on review articles, and for review articles, we have to use other articles to extract data. That's why it is very important for us to have a comprehensive search strategy which can retrieve all of the relevant articles without missing out on anything. Because our main source, our primary source of information are other articles. That's why the search strategy is important. But for cross-sectional studies, we are not relying on other articles. We are relying on the data that we collect. So that's why search strategies are not important for cross-sectional studies. Okay? Okay. So guys, we are done with creating our concept block for CHD. Now what do you guys say? Should we search? How can we be sure that we will? Well, you can't be sure, but you can just make sure that you are using all of the terms which are available for it, okay, that you can find. It doesn't take much time to find them, to search for them. So just ensure that you are using the major terms which are used. Yes, roughly. It's not important. It depends on your topic, obviously. So if you have a topic which is, let's say, unique and it hasn't been worked on a lot, you will have lesser terms. Now the thing with CHD is that it's a very researched topic. Many people work on it. So that's why we have more terms. Okay? Okay, so guys, should we search? We are done with creating the search string. Should we search for it? Should we click search? Yes. Okay. Cool. Oh my God. We got 15,000 results. Oh, awesome. Filter laga hua hai. Okay, we got we got 0.3 million results. Almost 0.4 million. What do we do now? Why do you guys think we got so many results? What did I say about using or to broaden the search string? Narrow it down exactly a number. Exactly. And what do we do for that? Hmm? And exactly. Good job, guys. So we are done with the concept block for population. Now what do we do, Abdul Rafib? Which concept block do we create now? Intervention, exactly. Now, can somebody tell me, is it important to create concept blocks for comparator and for outcomes as well? What do you guys say? Not in my opinion. Not in my opinion either, Abdul Rafib. You can create one for the comparator. Nimra, why? It can be beneficial, but here's the thing. You cannot create it for outcomes because outcomes are not usually mentioned in the title. Okay? And if you use outcomes as a separate block, it will narrow down your results even further. Okay? And if you are narrowing it down, it will be a negative point, not a plus point. So you can create one for comparator, but I would suggest to not create one for outcomes. Okay? Okay. Great job, guys. So we are doing beta blockers now. So let's see what terms are used for beta blockers. Mhm. Beta blocker. Okay, so the mesh term for them is adrenergic beta antagonists. Now the other term that we have is beta blocker. I will add an asterisk so that it can include articles which use beta blockers. I'll add with or. And I will find other terms which are used for it. We have esmolol, we have, we have different drugs. Let me write beta block so that it can include beta blockade, beta blocker, beta blockers as well. Okay, we are done with this. We are done with this as well. Beta-adrenergic blocking agents. So we can include all of them separately as well, obviously. Let me just copy all of them. And obviously you are supposed to include, oh my God. I don't know what happened. No, the order does not matter. You just have to make sure that you include all of the terms. Okay? Guys, I don't know where it went. Okay, so should we do it again? Or do you guys get the concept? So like it was the same thing, you just add the names of all the drugs. We were left with that. Then you click search. Okay. And when you click search, once you are done with that, basically what happens is that both of the queries they get added here. Okay. You will see the query for beta blocker separately in your history and the query for CHD separately. Now what you can do is that you can click add query. Okay. And then for your next query, you click these three dots and you select add with and. So let's just assume that we have all of the string for beta blockers. This is not complete, I know. We can do it again, but I'm assuming that you guys got the concept of it. So you are just supposed to add the first query, then you are supposed to add the rest of them with and, add with and then you click search. Now, ideally, this should have lesser results because of the, or maybe more actually. It should have more results because of the extensive string which we were creating, but this, I don't know, that disappeared somewhere. So these are 700. It can be more. So that's all. That is for PubMed. And how do you save these results? You click save. No, wait, you click send to actually. You click send to, you click citation manager, you choose all results, and then you click create file. So basically what happens is that a file is downloaded which has all of these articles that you retrieve, and you can use it for screening. Screening is basically the step in which you go through the title and abstract of each article to ensure. So I know this was supposed to be like a 45 minute meeting, but I have this very bad habit of talking too much. So I extended it for you guys and myself as well. I'll wait for 20 participants to join before I start again. But I just wanted to ask, was the PubMed part clear so we can move on to the rest or not? Okay. Yeah, you're welcome to use it, by the way. Okay, so PubMed was clear. Um, we're stuck at 17 participants. Let's just continue, okay? Um, so we were talking about different databases. My voice is it the same for everyone or just Mariam? Okay for everyone else? Okay, just Mariam. Mariam, you might want to check your internet connection. Okay, guys, thank you. So, what are some of the other databases that we use? What do you guys say? You know, according to PRISMA guidelines, you are supposed to use a minimum of 3 databases. Okay, 3, and PubMed should definitely be in there. Acha, Nimra, for Google Scholar, it's not something that we prefer using because of 2 things. Google Scholar includes all of the articles. Okay, PubMed, MBS, Cochrane, they have articles which are relevant to medicine and other specialties related to medicine. But Google Scholar has all articles, engineering, computer science, all of it. So when you search for something, you get thousands and thousands of results. And there is another problem. We cannot save those results. Like we did, like we did for PubMed, you can't do the same for Google Scholar. Okay? So that's why we prefer not using Google Scholar. However, we can use it as supplementary source of information for maybe citing your articles, for finding out if you are missing out on something. Okay? So yes, Afak, we have Web of Science, we have Cochrane, Padma. Yes, you guys are right. Now, here's the thing. Embase, Scopus, and Web of Science are paid platforms, and I don't have access to them. Okay, so I sincerely apologize for that, but it's expensive, and usually the access is institutional, so I don't have access to them, and I obviously can't pay because it's very expensive. So I hope you guys forgive me for that, but I will give you guys a tip for that as well. So Abdul Rafi might like this tip a lot, and maybe Nimra likes it a lot too. So what you do is that you just give a prompt to ChatGPT or any other AI tool to create a search strategy for Embase, Scopus, and Web of Science, where population is patients with CHD, CAD, or sorry, CHD, CAD, IHD, intervention is beta blockers, and control is placebo. You see, I don't have access to it, so I can't show you guys how to use it. But you guys can easily create these search strings. Now you guys might be wondering, how do we use these things if we don't have access to these platforms? Oh my god, I forgot to share my screen. I'm so sorry, guys. Yes, Adisa, you can use it. I'm so sorry, guys. Basically, what I did was that let me post this thing. I gave Claude a prompt to create a search strategy for MBase, Scopus, and Web of Science, where population is patients with CHD, CAD, or IHD, intervention is beta blockers, and control is placebo. So it gave me the search strings. Now, what I can do is that I can find someone who has access to these platforms, to these databases, and I can send them these search strings and I can ask them, okay, run this search string for me and download the results that you receive and send them to me, please. Okay, so that is what we do usually because most people don't have access to paid databases. Is that clear? Okay, yes. Does anybody have any questions? Now we were talking about mesh terms, right? Here's the thing. Just like we have mesh terms for PubMed, I think somebody pointed it out as well that yes, we are going there. What does this thing do? Anamta, what are you asking about? The Claude prompt. Okay. Anamta, I was saying that I don't have access to Embase, Opus, and Web of Science because they are paid platforms and I don't have them. So, what I can do, I can't show you guys how to create them because I don't have access to them. So, what I did was that I give you guys a solution because most people don't have access to these platforms. You just give a prompt for it to create some search strings for these databases. It creates them for you, and you can send them to someone who has access, and they will download the results for you so that you can screen them and you can find any studies which you might have missed out on if you didn't include these databases. Yes. Yes, Embase and Scopus are separate. It's not that smart, but okay. Okay, so we have Embase, we have Scopus, and we have Web of Science. Now, who was that who asked that we have other terms for other databases which are not mesh terms? I feel like it was Nimra, but I'm not sure. So, Nimra, if it was you, you're very smart. Everybody here is very smart. So we are going to talk about that. Okay. Now we had mesh terms for PubMed, right? So this, look at the M-based search strings. We have this EXP thing. See? Now you guys might be wondering what EXP is. Is it somebody's name? Probably not. No. So EXP basically is explode M-tree terms. You know what this means? It means that when you write one term and you write /exp for Embase, what it does is that it uh, adds all of the relevant terms to that term. Okay, like for example, if I write cancer /exp, it will explode all M3 terms. For example, colorectal cancer, gastric cancer, breast cancer, um, any type of cancer with any term which is relevant to the word cancer will be added to your search string automatically. So that is what EXP is used for when you are using Embase. And you might notice something else. See this? We have EXP and we have TIABKW. Now you guys might be able to guess what TIAB and KW is. So TI is for title, AB is for abstract, and KW is for keyword. So the purpose of this is that if this term, you are basically asking Embase to search and retrieve all of those articles which have this term in their title or in their abstract or in their keywords. Okay? Is that part clear? Is EXP and TIABKW clear for MBase? It's similar to Mesh and TIAB for PubMed, but this is for MBase. Okay? Perfect. I'm hoping you guys understood. Now for Scopus, we have this. See, title, abstract, and keyword. Title, abs, key. Now it's the same, but it's the thing that Scopus uses. It's different because it's used for Scopus only. I can't use this search string. I can't paste this search string in PubMed and expect to get results. I can't paste this string in Embase and expect to get results because I will get an error there because this is not applicable there. This is applicable for Scopus. Okay. Now for Web of Science, we use TS. And what is TS? TS is basically topic search. TS stands for topic search, and this is used for Web of Science. Topic search includes title, abstract, author, keywords, and keywords, all of them. Okay, so for PubMed, it's Mesh and TIAB. For Scopus, uh, it's title, abs, and key. For Embase, it's EXP and TIABKW. And for Web of Science, it's TS. Okay. Is it clear? Yes. Okay, amazing. Any questions so that we can move on? You see, so we covered PubMed. Let's go towards clinical trials registry. Move on. Okay, don't worry, I'm moving on. Okay, so the clinical trials registry or clinicaltrials.government is a very important supplementary database or supplementary registry that we used. As I initially said, that these databases are basically for registering clinical trials. Each and every type of research study is registered somewhere. For example, for meta-analysis and systematic reviews, we register them on Prospero. Similarly, clinical trials are registered on clinicaltrials.government, or there are many other clinical trial registries where they are registered, but the main one is this one. Okay. So here it's very easy. You just write your condition or disease. I write coronary heart disease. And then I write for my intervention beta blocker. See? And I search. I got 359 studies. Now, the thing is that it will show you studies which have not even started yet. See, enrolling by invitation, recruiting. This one is completed. This one is unknown status. This one is recruiting. Now, I just want studies which have been completed, which can give me data. So, what I will do is that I will look at the filters here and I will choose completed because I want studies which are completed. And I will select apply filters. See, now I have 146 studies which are relevant. What you do is that you click download. You click all 46 studies, you keep this as RIS and you download it. Okay, so it will be downloaded and you can use that for screening later on. Is this clear? Asthma and nebulizer. Yes, of course. Let's try asthma. See? So I got a total of 133 studies. Now, if I want to apply the filter for completed trials only, I will get 95 studies. See? Then I will download them from here, and that's it. You are most welcome, Limra. So, is the clinical trials registry clear? Any questions from here? We are going to move on to Cochrane now. And then hopefully we will be done. No problem. Why did we download RIS and not CSV? We can download CSV as well. But Nimra, actually, when you are using Rayan, which is the software that I use for screening, um, sometimes there are issues with uploading CSV files there. So I just prefer using RIS to avoid the trouble. Okay? You can download CSV as well. It's completely up to you. Now, Cochrane is very important because usually it contains all of the clinical trials and clinical trials is done for screening. Yes, it is done for screening purpose. It is a source of supplementary information which we must use. Okay, so the Cochrane Central Registry is very important because it has abstracts for all ongoing clinical trials and it has completed clinical trials as well. So it is a primary source of information about trials, RCTs, and clinical trials. Okay. So what you do is that you just click advanced search over here. This is an old search string. Now we were taking CHD, right? So you write coronary heart disease. You keep this as title, abstract, and keyword. Then you write or. Right. So you basically add all of the terms and then you run your search. Okay. What were the terms that we had? Yes, PhD. Yes, coronary atherosclerosis, coronary stenosis. Yes, it's okay. We have that variation for ischemic heart disease as well, and it is fine. We don't have coronary stenosis here. Don't know why. Just remove this. Okay, this is fine. So we click run search. Now you have 118 reviews and you have 3600 trials. Or is it? No, it's 36,000 trials which are similar to your results, okay? So obviously you have to narrow it down. And how do you narrow it down? You narrow it down by um, I don't know. I have a previous search here. I have to remove that first. Okay, I have this. Now I have this whole concept block. So I will search for another concept block for my intervention concept block. Beta blocker. Beta blockers. Beta blocking. Beta blockade. See, now I will send this to the search manager. And I have both of them separately over here. So my third line should be number 1 and number 2. Sorry. I'm trying to find that symbol in my in my computer, in my keyboard. Forgot the word for keyboard. So basically you write that hash symbol 1 and then you write and then you write hash again for 2. Let me find that symbol. I'm really sorry for the trouble, guys. I keep writing HG instead of G. Here all beta shift +3. Okay. Why we don't use filters here? Which filter, Nimra? I didn't get it. Let me try shift plus 3. Oh, that worked. Why did I doubt it? See, you do this. You click continue, and you see you got 929 results by combining both of these. So you click 929. Okay. Now you have 914 trials. 914 trials is much better than 30,000 trials. Do you all agree or not? See, non-selective beta blocker in coronary heart disease, beta blockers in patients with heart disease, beta blockade in patients with coronary artery disease. Is that fun? Complete trials filter. See, we are already choosing trials. And the thing here is that it reports articles which either have abstracts or which have been completed. So you can use abstracts for data extraction. Did you combine two concepts? Yes, exactly. When I wrote #1 and #2, I combined the two blocks together and I only chose the results, which see, instead of clicking save this search, view, blah, 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 I just clicked this number here. So 929 is the total number of results that were being retrieved after combining 1 and 2. So the initial concept block gave me about 36,000 results. The second one gave me 8,500 results. And by combining both of them, I'm getting 929. So how do we save this? You click select all. You click export selected citations. You choose RIS reference manager and you download. Okay. Where did you? Okay. It was a very long process, Anamta. You learn it gradually. Adisa, did that answer your question? So, guys, we are done here. But I will send you the slides as well. I'll send it to Usama and he will share it with you guys. Yeah, I'm still part of Irtika. How do you know? How do you know about Irtika? Okay, okay, okay. We are planning on another one this year as well. But let's hope that we get there, inshallah. Yeah. So I'll send you guys the slides as well. Thank you, Anamta. I saw your request. I was so surprised. I was like, I just started and I got a request. That was very sweet. Thank you. Um, where can we get the update for these workshops about the Irtika workshops? I'll make sure to, share it to as many people as possible, and I'll post about it on my LinkedIn as well, so you can check from there. Nimra, no, we are not applying any filters here, but obviously there are some options for filters here as well, so you can choose any from here. See, language filters, source filters, time filters. So these are not important. That's why usually we don't filter for anything. You just choose the trials option here, not the reviews, not the protocols, just the trials. Okay, and you download them. So I was saying that I'll share the slides with you guys, but you guys might not get them very properly because they're very it's not easy to understand slides for something which is practical. So I'm just hoping that you guys learn how to create the search strings and how to work with them and the basic concept behind it. Yeah, of course you can. Of course you can. You can take my number from Usama, or you can message me on LinkedIn. It's up to you. This meeting has like 6 minutes. During that time, you guys can ask me any questions. Can you? Yes, of course I can. So basically, today's session was about literature review and electronic search using major databases. The purpose of carrying out a literature search and an electronic review is to make sure that you receive and you find all of the articles which you must include in your meta-analysis. And for that, we have to carefully curate a search string, and you have to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. Thank you, Nimra. That's very sweet. So you have to carefully curate a search string, and you have to make sure that you don't miss out on anything. And the purpose of that is that by curating a proper search string, you are ensuring that you do not induce any publication bias into your findings by uh, missing out on any potential studies. Okay. Then after that, we went through how to make search strings for the major databases like PubMed, Embase, Scopus, Web of Science, Cochrane, and the Clinical Trials Registry. Now, an important thing for you guys is that you should remember that according to the PRISMA guidelines, you must include the results from 3 databases at least. You can include more, obviously, but the minimum number is 3. So you must include PubMed. It is advisable to not skip Cochrane, and if I could recommend a third one, that would be Embase. But you usually I go for 5, minimum 5. That is PubMed, Embase, Cochrane, Scopus, and the Clinical Trials Registry. Okay. Now, another important concept that you guys can remember is forward and backward citation searching. How does that work? It's very easy to understand. Basically, if I include one study in my paper, in my meta-analysis, and it checks all of my criteria, it is the same population, the same intervention, the same control group, what I will do is that I will have a look at the reference list of that study. Okay, I will open the reference list of that study and I will see, okay, which of the studies are included in this reference list, and I will just manually have a look and see, okay, can I include any of these studies in my meta-analysis? Now that's called backward citation searching or backward citation tracking. Okay, what forward citation tracking is that you see a published article, you see, okay, this is according to my PICO, this I can include in my meta-analysis. So what you do is that there is an option cited by next to every article. If you open it on your laptop or on your computer or your phone or whatever, there is an option cited by, which shows all of the articles which were published after the publication of the article you are interested in, which have cited that article. Okay, so basically you are looking at the articles published after it, which cited it as a source, and you see, okay, do any of these articles match my PICO or not? So if they do, you can include them. Now that's forward citation tracking or forward citation searching. Okay, that is a manual method of checking for any studies which you might have missed on. So that's all about literature review and electronic search. The main purpose of this step is to ensure that you don't miss out on anything and to ensure that it's reproducible. So that somebody else, if they want to check it, they can use your search string and they can reproduce your results. You are most welcome, Anamtha, and I'm thankful to you guys for sitting through this session, although it was a bit boring. Abstract during okay, yeah, sure I can. Let me just open my Rayan, okay? I'll show you guys very quickly because we have like 2 minutes left. I hate this. Oh my God, guys, it's not opening, so let me just show you quickly somewhere else. Okay. I'm so sorry. Let's say that this is my intervention and this is my population and my control group is, for example, placebo. So when I am checking, first of all, I'll have a look at the title and I'll see, okay, this is relevant to me. I see my intervention in the title. I also see my population. But if it's vague and you can't tell, it won't hurt to have a look at the abstract. So when I'm looking at the abstract, my go-to is the method section because the method section mentions the intervention, it mentions the control as well, it mentions the population as well, and it tells you, okay, should I include this or not? So just go through the methods and see if it has your population, if it has your intervention, and if it has your control group. If everything is the same, you include that article.